the U.S. and Israel have just bombed Tehran, which is the capital of Iran, which isn't that surprising, at least for us. We've I literally just posted a video today of us saying that it was inevitable, so no real surprise there at all. Of course, they are saying that it's because Iran is building nuclear weapons, which is the second time. Sure. Which is the second time that they're building nuclear weapons in less than 6 months, which of course is ridiculous. And it's insane that after the last one, they said they had gotten all of the nuclear enriching facilities underground. The strikes were super great, excellent, only for us to then have to strike them again. Trump did uh, have a little message that he said. Let's see if we can pull it up.
Short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels in international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack,
I don't. How do you say that, but then also say they would need to bomb Iran because are still building nuclear weapons? Like, come on, buddy.
we warned them never to
I'm sure it
resume their
sells for the
malicious
boomers.
pursuit
I'm
of
sure the
nuclear
boomers
weapons,
get excited.
and we
I'm
sought
sure you're right. Ben
repeatedly
Shapiro and
to make a deal.
fucking
We
Mark
tried.
Levin.
They
They love
wanted
it.
to
They're all
do it.
bouncing
They
in their
didn't
seats
want
right
to
now.
do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take.
Even today, the report was that they, quote, renounced their nuclear ambitions. So, I mean, what? There's no, it doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense.
It anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened.
But why? Why would they hit Europe? When have they ever said they want to hit Europe? They've never said that. There's only one ally that they don't like. We all know who it is, but he didn't say that. He said Europe and our allies. It's not Japan. I don't think Iran really hates Japan. I don't think it's Japan. Who else? India? I don't know anything about their relations, but I've never heard Iran say they want to hit India. I've only heard them say they want to hit one country, really. They don't even say they want to hit the homeland of US. So I think it would be more respectable if he was a lot more honest about it. Just be like, Israel wants us to bomb Iran, and we have to do it because he has pictures of me and videos of me doing no things. Just be honest, dude. People would actually care less if you were just honest. They would care less, believe it or not. But people are going to watch this when they wake up tomorrow. They're going to be very pissed off. The only people who are going to watch this and go, yes, this is awesome, are the you know who's, and like people over the age of 70. And even then, the 70-year-olds might not care that much. This is ridiculous. There's also a line here that he says soon that I just couldn't believe he said.
This regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs as
They're IEDs and roadside bombs, which are landmines. How much of those are a threat to us? Are they planting landmines on the highways in Missouri? Anyone aware of such cases? Have they planted landmines in Europe, Japan, India? Where are they planting these landmines that they're causing deaths to Americans?
they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear.
You know what? I'll say this. He's correct. They're making sure that they never get a nuclear weapon because there's not a chance in hell they ever can with how much we bomb the shit out of them for all the other reasons.
This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now.
What he said it so casually, though. He said it so casually. They're just gonna die for what? For the you know who's? So wild, bro. How casual he just says that.
We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear armed Iran.
I don't think Iran's non existent nuclear program is the biggest threat to America. As a matter of fact, I think Europe is closer to nuking America than Iran at this point. Shit.
We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am
They don't have time to fix his hair. This hat is not doing it for me.
willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future.
All right, so I mean, you get it. All right, this is some of the footage. There's a lot more. I'm just trying to pay my bills. So they calling it an assassination campaign. As far as I know, the uh, Iran intelligence headquarters has been bombed. Rumor has it the president of Iran has been killed. So we're still kind of waiting on confirmed reports of who's been killed and who's not. I don't know if we'll get them by the time I get the fuck off. That's for sure. But you know, also, if you're still an owner of Bitcoin, I feel so sorry for you. I would have dropped out the second that it was the Epstein files were dropped. So this was a joint attack by the U.S. and Israel. The attacks from before were usually Israel attack Iran, Iran attacks back. The U.S. just defends. To be honest with you, we jointly attacked every single time, most likely. But this time, the U.S. is being pretty open about it. Yeah, so here's the Israel defense. This was very televised. No, I don't know if it was intentionally televised, but it was very televised. The U.S. had told all of its people to leave Israel, hunker down, pretty much in most of the embassies that we have in the area to be prepared. Israel called up all of its forces again, initiated all of its air defense systems again before this happened. It didn't really come that much of a surprise, to be honest with you. Uh, Honestly, I expected more explosions at this point. Confirmed targets: Ministry of Intelligence, Ministry of Defense, the Supreme Leader's office, and I believe the president's home. Now, what's also rumored is that the Khamenei, the Supreme Leader, was already hunkered down somewhere else, to underground facility, whatever. So, what's interesting to me is that if you were going to hit somebody, it'd probably be him, all things considered. And instead, we got reports that they hit the president. So, another rumor, a fun one. I've A lot of the people I know just call everyone an asset, so take this with a grain of salt. Is that the Supreme Leader is actually uh, an agent of either the CIA or Mossad. And honest to God, sometimes I think they're right. One of them is this right here in the situation of, if you're going to target somebody when you're the US or Israel, it'd probably be that guy. And it's wild to me that if he avoided these strikes, that that's possible. That instead we killed the president. Iranian's president is a lot more tempered when it comes to the politics between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. He's a lot more realistic, I'd say. So the idea that we'd kill him and not the Ayatollah, it just doesn't make any sense to me at all. So I totally see it. And Iran also does this thing, like I said. I mean, for us as civilians, they know that Trump's MAGA is dead, so they're going to take everything they can before he loses power in the midterms. Maybe, I think, as a bonus, they get to prevent a right wing populist movement for years to come. That's true. I mean, that can be true too. I think a large part of it is simply this is what Israel wants. That's probably, to be honest with you, I think that takes up 90% of the reasoning that we're doing this. And the other 10% is they just want to move on. Well, they want us to move on from the Epstein files. So, is it a coincidence that Bill Clinton testified today and put out a lot of messages that they decided to also bomb Iran? I don't really think so, but you're probably right too. I'm sure it's a combination of reasons here. There's really no, from their point of view, there's no negatives here at all. There's no negatives. Okay, it's good for the defense industry, right? It's good for Israel. It's good to get attention off of the Epstein stuff. There's really no negatives here for them. They don't give a fuck about the loss of life. They don't care, obviously, about us going into another war. Like, they just don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? For them, this is awesome. It comes off the back of the success of the Venezuelan raid. So if he can, in their minds, if they can pull off a second military operation successfully with, as well, to be honest with you, they probably want some Americans to die because it just gives them even more of a reason to go harder. But yeah, again, you're right too. It's just so beneficial for them across the board to do this. There is no fucking negative for them here at all. Even the publicity is much better than what they've been getting when it comes to the Epstein stuff. They can't go up there for more than 10 minutes on any topic without getting Epstein questions. And now, it's no longer about that. It'll be about this. This will be the big talk. And again, it's just so weird. So Iran, it says they're getting ready to strike. They're going to do a thing, but every time they say that, it takes them 48 hours at least to preempt or to respond. And I just don't see how, because again, I as a civilian who's in some room in Florida, know that we were gonna bomb them. Like I knew that, so they must have known that it was going to happen. But China has been dropping these like satellite images on the internet of our carriers and of our planes getting ready to launch. There was a delegation from Russia and China, both in Tehran. We know what they were saying to them. So, you know, I just don't believe that Iran is so naive as to the situation that they're not ready to strike back. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they just don't want to have their assets out because they know we'd bomb them, so they wait until we bomb them first and then bomb. I don't know. I have no idea, but it's just weird that this is like the sequence of events that takes place. This is really nothing new. People are going. World War III is trending. This happens all the time. This happens once a year. This exact situation. I'd say it's a little different because we. Wow, these guys do really seem happy here. No love lost for the Iranian government. This says civilians are scared. That doesn't sound scared to me. She's laughing and having a good time. Screeching. I mean, that's not fear. Sorry. Doesn't sound like fear at all. Maybe they're being sarcastic. I don't know. Yeah. So still, mostly just gonna keep streaming until we see whether or not Iran responds. I don't think they will right away. I don't. I don't think it's gonna happen. It usually takes them a good 48 hours, honestly, a week to get assets in place to strike back. They have said this time that they will hit. I don't know. It's so funny. They said they will hit U.S. assets. So usually when you get hit on your homeland, you want to hit the person who hit you back on the homeland, right? Like when Israel bombs them, they bomb Israel back. I do think it's so funny that the U.S. is so terrifying to them that they're like, we're going to attack the U.S. back, but we're only going to hit your assets closest to us. Maybe that speaks to what they're capable of, but it sounds more out of fear more than anything. Again, I think there's a lot more at play when it comes to it in terms of genuine fear about what the U.S. can do. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not excited for this. I'll tell you that much. I'm so tired of red markets due to news only. It is so fucking cringe. We also have this isn't an official episode for those who are regulars here. This will only be posted to Rumble. And so I'm trying to keep it to just this because we'll talk about this again on a real episode probably tomorrow towards the end. However, this does come after the Pakistan and Taliban bombings that took place, and there's a lot of geopolitics there too. You can see cruise missiles here. This is, I believe, over Iraq. So crazy how low they fly. Look how low they fly, guys. Insane. They do this to avoid radar detection. Crazy. So many of them too. These come from US bases. I've seen reports they came from US bases in Syria. and Iraq, I guess. So, God, I can't stand all the propaganda. It's so cringe. They love to fill the space. And this also comes on the back of Prime Minister Modi of India visiting Israel. Again, there's a lot of interesting political web weaving that goes on there between India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Taliban, and Israel. We'll go over that on a real episode, and after I educate myself a little bit, because it is ridiculous. So, still, I mean, we'll see. Look around. Okay, this is dumb. Uh, yeah, you're gonna see a lot of bot nonsense. We are not. Nobody actually believes this shit. So usually when there's operations like this, they initiate it with a propaganda operation. So you quickly see a lot of this. That the death to America, is the logic they use for why we have to strike Iran. Which, to be honest with you, claims that Iran has launched a response towards Israel. No shit. All right. Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll see it pretty quick. Last time we actually saw the missiles again in air going across the territories. I'm curious. I'm not crazy curious about what Iran does to Israel. Not because I'm not Jew. Israel has a right to defend itself. Yeah, Israel is just defending itself before Iran can attack it. That's what's going on. They knew that in response, Iran would send missiles and therefore had to strike first. I just, I'm just always so curious as to what the Israeli people think. Another another thing that gets lost on people outside of Israel is the fact that they don't half of them don't like Benjamin Netanyahu for this reason. And part of the reason Benjamin is so intent on this is a way for him to avoid corruption trial. So the whole reason he took to power in the first place was to avoid going to jail for corruption. And it's been a nonstop insider war in Israel between his people and him because he's not supposed to be there. And anytime they get close to just being a little too rebellious or asking for too much, this is what tends to happen. And of course, he forces us into it too. So again, not that surprised. I'm trying to find the response. Let me hit latest here. I quit my 9 to 5. Oh man. God bless Twitter. There was somebody who was live streaming it. Operation Epic Fury. Is that what this is called? Yeah, I guess this is called Operation Epic Fury. Nice. This genuinely makes me sick. Calm down, buddy. Let's type in Israel. Oh, oh God. Just took me to a fucking jihadi site. My computer's probably infected with viruses now. Oh, yeah, you're right. Here it is. Iran has launched multiple ballistic missiles towards Israel. So this is Israel's pretty ready for this. They set up all their, Iron Dome shit, turned it all on, called up all the reserves before this happened. Wow, there's no way that many were sent. That would be crazy. Maybe Iran actually did set up beforehand. Pretty sure this is old, guys. It's here. I will say the footage we got last time was insane. It was pretty cool. I mean, sorry, loss of life is always sad. Don't get me wrong. Okay, it's sad on any side. Innocent life loss is depressing. However, I am a fucking whore for military stuff. I love seeing the Iron Dome shooting missiles out of the sky. Uh, the missiles themselves slow cruising over land. I fucking love that shit. I'm sorry. That technology is super impressive. All right. Again, loss of life is sad. However, that technology is just so insane. Let's see. All right. This is some alleged Iranian cruise missiles towards Israel. To be honest with you guys, being able to tell if this is all old footage, new footage, even just fake footage, maybe it has nothing to do with the conflict, you know, I'm not going to be able to tell you. I have no idea. I'm just pulling this shit up as it happens. You can see them again, these cruise missiles. And there you go. History. Oh, my Twitter's breaking. My browser is breaking. Sorry, guys. Hopefully it fixes here in a second. But history kind of tells me nothing is going to happen, okay? This isn't the first time. This happens literally once. I think this has happened once a year. Usually happens closer to summertime. I think since the Hamas attack, this has happened once a year. Israel bombs Iran. Iran sends missiles back, and then there's peace talks. Man, my thingy here is fucking busted. I don't know why it's taking me to Creator Studio. I'm too scared to hit media.
The United States military began.
You oh my god. I'm sorry, guys. The Iron Dome. Look at you go. This is the music video. Israel did take some hits last time. Of course, there's always propaganda back and forth about how much. Oh God, how much is real and how much isn't. Israel wants to destroy Iran. Yes, man. We know. There were. Let's see if I can find. There were live feeds. Hold up. Let me pull up a live feed. Just need to make sure I'm. 1 second, guys. Iran. Live. So there was a live feed. Oh, we have the Associated Press. Okay, well, just looked like a nice little sunny day for them, huh? Don't see any smoke. What a great live feed. Click this one. Look at all this air traffic. So you can see all the normal traffic, and then from Israel to Iran and even Afghanistan there, no traffic. Here's Tehran. So before this, Iran, you know, reportedly had sent all of their, or not all of their, but sent quite a few land assets towards the border here, whether it's defense or, you know, prepped for an attack. Eh. Again, I don't think anything is going to happen. But, allegedly they line their troops up on the border. It's not really feasible for Iran or Israel to land invade the other. Iran just doesn't have the resources, and Israel, even with all their might, to be honest with you, their military is impressive, just also doesn't have the manpower for it. The U.S. has a lot of assets here, a ton of assets here, and a ton of assets here. Most of them were defensive. So again, what happens is Iran sends cruise missiles. The U.S. takes to the skies and then tends to try and shoot down the missiles along with the Iron Dome. Maybe we'll see some laser footage. I've heard the Iron Beam is up and running, so maybe we'll see some of that this time. Live feed. Supreme Leader. All right, here we go. Maybe some news on him. Let's click latest. Let's see. Killing Supreme Army Commander. Way to go, Supreme Leader. He says, so he's still alive, I assume, if he's saying that the U.S. will never be able to destroy the Islamic Republic. Again, I don't understand how this guy isn't priority number one. I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense to me. If he's the one pulling all the strings here, then why wouldn't he be your main target? It just doesn't make any sense. So why is he trending? Oh, look at the planes, guys. Look at that. That's the B-2 Spirit. Those are F-35s. Sorry, guys. Again, I'm a whore for military tech, especially planes. They're just so fucking sleek. I don't think this is actual footage of the combat mission. They don't usually fly this low for combat. Could be them on their way, but even then, I doubt it. This is probably from something else. So, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, was not in Tehran and had been transferred to a secure location. Yeah, I see that a lot. But again, why is his name trending? What's the point of it? What happened? Israel may target supreme leader Khamenei in its airstrikes. Why would you not on the first wave? All right, so the person says fake news. The president is alive and safe. A wave of missiles is headed towards occupied Palestine. What is Iran gonna bomb Palestine too? There's the plot twist of the century. Iran fucking tag teaming poor Palestinians with Israel. What the fuck? Honestly, a lot of this fits the same narrative that we've seen kind of 100 times, where the president and the supreme leader both get to live on. Israel and the U.S. get to say they bombed Iran and are protecting our interests. And really, it just gets to serve as a distraction from the Epstein files. That it does seem like that's kind of what's going on. Which I guess surprises probably nobody except people over the age of 70. 30 targets allegedly hit, including the presidential palace, the intelligence ministry, which of course Iran known for having its robust intelligence network. So that was a priority, of course. Let's see if we can get some background noise here. This isn't going to show military planes, so kind of useless look you. Let's see if this has any news that we don't have.
All right, it bears repeating as you have been watching. We are tracking breaking news. The Israeli Ministry of Defense is reporting that it, along with the United States, that is new information with the United States, has launched what it is.
Yeah, it's new information for who? Again, people over the age of 60? It's not new. Fucking idiot.
Against Iran. Witnesses are reporting thick smoke from an explosion in downtown Tehran, Iran's capital, and Iran has shut down its airspace. Meantime, sirens are also sounding across Israel in anticipation of a retaliatory attack. All of this coming just hours after Secretary of State Marco Rubio warned Americans in Iran to leave immediately and not to travel there. Today, the secretary designated Iran a
Well, I
state.
want to know what Americans are traveling to Iran. Maybe reporters.
We have major breaking news here into CNN. Israel has launched what it calls a preemptive strike on.
And that would the idea there, of course, would be to protect not only their own aircraft. Israelis expect now is that the Iranians are going.
Iranian retaliation is expected in the form of missile and drone attacks against the state of Israel. 15 hours later, this time it is for the killing of thousands of protesters.
Nuclear areas and the Israelis.
Look how happy this guy is. He's so happy. He is just the happiest guy. He's so excited.
Middle East. I mean, you have jets in Jordan. You have jets, the possibility of it. And
so, yeah, this is a good map here. I mean, the U.S. just has... the U.S. has so many assets in the air. So, it's pretty funny. I do think the U.S. had intended to strike earlier, but there was a problem with one of our aircraft carriers in which there was a plumbing issue, and it had to go get it fixed on a Greek island first before coming back. And it's pretty funny that it was just, I think it was less than 12 hours ago, maybe a little longer, that it was fixed, and it arrived back up here to help protect Israel. So I think that kind of delayed things, but the U.S. does like to wait until a weekend to attack. That way the markets kind of have some time to rebound just a tad. So here we have the ballistic missiles.
So that was the Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has appealed to all Iranians to come together.
I'm going to lose my mind listening to this guy talk.
Fight to remove a regime that always claimed death to Jews, death to Israel, and death to America. Now, America has called this Operation Epic Fury. Israel has called it Operation Lion's Roll. Iran has called the retaliation as Fateh Khyber. Let's go across to Sanjay Suri joining us live, even as Israel has claimed to intercept one of the ballistic missiles sent their way.
Already? Jesus, guys, this shit happened so fast. So fast, guys. So fast. Let's see. I will say the women sounding excited that maybe the audio, maybe it's more propaganda. The audio's just set up that way, but them sounding excited That's a fucking missile. So it looks like more attacks have just taken place from both sides, is what I'm picking up here. Looks like there are missiles on its way to our naval base in Bahrain. Grok's an idiot, of course.
By the Iranians.
Sorry, guys,
50 to
it's
75
4 a.m. for me. I'm
ballistic
trying to drink
missiles
coffee.
launched, according to Iranian media. Sanjay, what's the scenario? Now there is a large security deployment in Tehran. Roads have been blocked around the Khamenei residence. Israel has come out and said Israel has the right to defend itself. One missile launched from Iran towards central Israel.
Rumor has it that the U.S. has its own drone squad that's waiting to be
Was
unleashed
intercepted by the air defenses.
just before this happened.
Reports of injury. Additional rocket fire towards the state of Israel, this time toward the center of the country. Sirens are now activated at the center and also at Shepsala. There is a fresh map that's come. We try and put that out. It's a huge cluster.
We had a pre-alarm, and now we've had.
Look how fucking happy this bitch is.
Make sure that everybody understand doesn't kill us, make us stronger. So as
Whatever.
Well, they're not
Look how
going to
happy
come
she is.
while
Look
the
how
sirens are
excited she
sounding,
is.
to be sure.
The
But
fuck?
you think it's safe outside?
It's
Stay
crazy.
strong and hold on to the a glimpse of the kind of confidence and the strength that you see all around in Israel. And it's not just my friend here; it's just about everyone.
Oh, you know what? I'll respect it. She's in Israel and she's confident she's not gonna die.
The lives of Israeli civilians who have nothing to do with this conflict. I think that he is a brutal dictator who wants to just see as much damage done to Israel as possible, and he doesn't care who is involved and who is not.
What are you? How are you defending Israel here? I heard bombed first. What the fuck?
But I think tyrannical regime. And
oh yes, problem here is Iran.
Rachel, which brings me to ask you the one question that, you know, it's not just Israel versus Iran. It is also Iran's axis of resistance. You know, when you talk about the Hezbollahs, when you talk about the Houthis, they also get activated. And there are reports indicating that they have...
What's the fucking... Man, they don't exist anymore on YouTube. There's the Middle Eastern... Al Jazeera, actually. They're right here. Let's see. These guys are... I don't want to say they're more biased, but they tend to lean a little more towards...
Interception over Qatar and in Bahrain. And this
the middle
reflects what the Iranians have been saying over the past weeks regarding the retaliation to any war on them or any attack on them. But this is just turning this whole conflict into a regional conflict.
Yeah, because the Iranians have said that all U.S. assets in this region are a legitimate target, even if the countries are...
Iran is calling on its citizens to leave the UAE, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, and Jordan.
A previous attack after the June war in 2025. So we are seeing more regional intertwining when it comes to this conflict, and this is taking this conflict towards somewhere very complicated.
Mohanad Saloon, what are your thoughts? What are the risks today of an all-out regional conflict, given what we're seeing?
Okay, so we do have
Iran targeting these
actual impacts from what this says here. Allegedly, this is the U.S. Navy 15th Fleet base in Bahrain.
If they could, because the U.S. and its allies, they probably have predicted this, and probably they have, they have taken measures to prevent that or to minimize the damage, because President Trump said that we might lose some of our soldiers, and that's a cost that we
So here's the island. Oh shit.
This is the alarm, by the way, that we all get on our phones here in Doha when there is urgency. And so the national emergency alert system has gone off here in Qatar. The defense
Okay, so
ministry
they're in Qatar.
announcing just a short while ago that an Iranian missile has been intercepted here in Qatar, warning citizens basically to take shelter. Let's bring in Alan Fisher in Washington, D.C. Apologies, there's a bit of chaos in the newsroom, as you can imagine, because this is also happening here in Qatar.
So it sounds like Iran struck more than
Alan Fisher in Washington, D.C. Zain Bazravi
Iran, or Iran struck more than Israel. We have Beirut and Qatar also confirmed. Probably U.S. bases are the targets. I doubt they're just free firing at those two countries. There's nothing in there other than U.S. assets that they're interested in.
Well, it certainly is tense. The hours since this morning have changed the situation dramatically. We just heard those alerts going off. We were standing here, people on their smartphones here on the Corniche, tourists still out and about. All of their phones went off at the same time, warning of the threat of incoming missiles. Now, earlier, an official source in the country, Ministry of Defense, confirmed
I don't know what Galilee
that
is.
an Iranian missile was shot down using Patriot systems. Of course, Patriot defense systems were mobilized in multiple numbers ahead of this invasion.
Don't know where this place is.
On Iran by the United States to multiple friendly countries all around the region, and that seems to be taking part in this conflict now, though they are now serving their purpose. Just within an hour of that confirmation by the defense ministry, the U.S. Embassy had issued a warning saying, missile incoming, imminent missile strikes, duck and cover until further notice, continue to shelter in place. So that warning
in Israel's Galilee, okay?
The Patriot defense system.
Missile impact was reported in northern Israel.
Airspace around Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, all these airspaces have been closed.
Sounds like Haifa was also
in the past hour. Those were
targeted.
The last flights to come in and out of Doha, perhaps for some time. That U.S. warning, that U.S. Embassy warning, telling people to shelter in place, but also to have food and water supplies, to have a plan to exit. There seems to be this urgency from the U.S. Embassy to suggest that this may be a protracted event.
So yeah, the emergency alert we all got on our phones just a short while ago here in Qatar. From the Qatari authorities telling everyone here in Doha to stay away from military installations. As you said, a huge U.S. military base in Doha. Difficult to say what is going to be the scope of Iran's retaliation, isn't it, Zain?
Well, I can tell you from reporting I've done in the past in Iran for years, whenever you speak to officials on the ground, whenever you speak to any analysts, really anyone that is connected to the government or the IRGC or the
China plans to sign a defense pact with Iran. Maybe a little too late for that, I think.
Neighboring countries. They want to maintain friendly ties.
The fuck is this?
Point out that they all host U.S. bases, and if Iran is attacked, there's been an admittance by a number of analysts and officials that they know that a full-scale U.S. invasion is something that Iran is unlikely to be able to combat strictly because of the asymmetry of military power on the U.S. side. But they say that if the United States is going to decide to change the Iranian landscape, if Iran is going to have its map changed, it will change the map of the region. So what we are worried about now is that Iran will retaliate in the way that it has been promising all along, that if it is attacked, it will attack every U.S. ally in the region.
Indeed.
And that is something that they have gone on record to say for years.
Qatar's airspace has been closed. Bahrain's airspace also closed. We are looking on the left-hand side of our screen there of the explosion in Bahrain. And in Qatar, this was the missile that was intercepted earlier. It looks like in Bahrain, there has been some sort of explosion. Unclear as to whether this is something that was intercepted or it made impact, Zain.
I mean, that's not... Woman, are you fucking... What is wrong with you? Does that look like a missile that's been intercepted? You fuck?
Figure out exactly the details of what is being attacked, what is being hit. There is some concern about
hello?
the precision of Iranian missiles.
I can't tell if it's been intercepted. I don't think it's been intercepted. I think the ground intercepted the missile, you fucking ding-dong.
In the region. So as far as Iran
We have 2 confirmed hits in Israel.
Firing the first shot in this latest go-around. Everything is now probably fair game.
I mean, I guess. You say everything, but, like, again, you know,
as well as in Kuwait.
America just free hit Iran's capital pretty much as far away from the U.S. as possible, and their only response is to bomb some naval bases with 1 or 2 missiles. I'd hardly call that equal.
Announcement to make shortly, but the Iranian people are still waiting for that statement.
This is the United States Air Base in Bahrain, 15th Fleet.
The IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, has confirmed that it has.
Guys, the World War III thing it's retarded. Okay, no one is coming to Iran's defense. Nobody gives a fuck. Okay,
so that has been
sorry.
Confirmed. Also, announcements.
Those who really want something to happen, nothing's going to happen.
Asking people to stay calm, to avoid going out.
The missile was intercepted by its target. Thanks, woman.
An atmosphere of war in Tehran and across the country.
This happens once a year. It goes exactly like this. They take turns bombing each other, and that's it. Then they just call it a day. They just give up. Okay. But my favorite is that the U.S. does it too, but I believe the U.S. a little more. Iran always says that they have top secret weapons that are more dangerous than nukes, and we never see them at all. They've been saying it for like 5 years. Not that I, want to see them used against us, but it gives clarity as to this rhetoric that this is all-out war in World War III, blah, 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 blah. Okay, no, that's not. Again, who's coming to Iran's defense? Russia? I think they're a little busy at the moment. China? China doesn't give a fuck about Iran. China doesn't care at all. It's just Iran. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the U.S. and Israel are letting some of the missiles go through just so they can be like, oh, Iran, you got us back. Nice job, Let's just all stop now. Dozens of missions to Israel. So this is all of the horns going off. They are pretty close to the West Bank. That's kind of crazy. World War III means nobody has to pay tax anymore. Someone tell that guy that that's part of the reason taxes were implemented in the first place. Love it. Love when World War III trends. Stupid shit. Wait, what's this? Okay, so the Houthis announced they will start attacking ships in the Red Sea again. Oh boy. I love how we made so much progress. And we're just right back where we started. Ooh, we've got, I don't know if this is real, launches from Yemen. I mean, it's possible we do see
difficult situation when your country is under attack.
The other Iranian
you are personally safe, your family is safe, but you're also wishing for a major
assets bomb Israel at the same time too. Again, we did see some land. It's just they didn't really do anything. I think less than 10 people were hit, and they were all civilians.
Also, we have, as I said, those people who are still wishing that regime can change during this war.
This guy European.
Okay, Mo, for
Asian.
now, we'll leave it there. We'll come back to you, of course, for all the latest there from Tehran. Let's check in with Noor O'Day now. Noor, what's been happening in Israel?
Let's jump back here.
Well, quite a few updates for you, Folly. Let's start with Israel. Sirens have been going off in the north, in the center, and in the southern parts of Israel, as well as over illegal settlements across the occupied West Bank. The latest sirens are in Akka and in the Galilee area. We've also seen sirens in the Beersheba and the Mona areas. There have been several loud explosions heard.
Rumor has it Galilee was hit. Yeah, let's see. Bro, what is this?
What the fuck, אחי? יש פה כזה What the fuck, שי, תראה איזה יש, אחי.
Oh, even this guy's speaking some English there. The fact that this guy's still alive just tells me that they don't actually care.
This is not a strike. This is an operation aimed
It's more of a
changing,
show.
The government, toppling the government in Tehran.
It's aimed at toppling the government, but we didn't kill the leader of the government.
The Iranian public, although in Hebrew, which they do not speak.
Why?
Saying
Are we
that they are
incapable?
not the target. In the meantime, of course, the Israeli
Doesn't make any sense.
government has also taken steps here in the occupied West Bank, closing the more than 1,000 Israeli checkpoints and roadblocks in the occupied territory, making movement between cities very difficult, if not at all impossible. People rushing
This is
to the
the statue
and the gas stations.
that they burned.
A lot of
Iran burned.
traffic jams reported across the occupied
Statue
West
of
Bank,
Baal
with the Palestinian Authority trying
not too long ago.
to give some comfort to residents here.
And then
saying
Benjamin
that there
Netanyahu
are
said that it was
food reserves
anti-Semitic.
that, would be sufficient for up to 6 months, but really,
If you really want to know the real reason we're bombing Iran, it's this right here.
No construction codes would allow it. The construction codes imposed, of course, by the Israeli occupation. So people here are unnerved. They understand that this is a different kind of confrontation, and they're monitoring very closely. Israelis.
I mean, look how few missiles there are.
That are happening across the region. This is not just an Israel-Iran confrontation anymore. Very loud explosion that I can hear in the background. I'm not sure the camera.
I'm not even sure that was an actual interception.
But more interceptions heard. One more again over the skies. One more
I
in
doubt that's the actual
Ramallah
footage.
area. So certainly this is an ongoing situation with missiles reaching volley after another from Iran targeting Israel in retaliation for its initial strikes in the early hours of the morning.
As you said, no,
I keep seeing this.
Not just in Israel, Palestine, and
The
Iran, but
defense
across the
minister
region,
of
with
Iran has been
starting to
killed.
retaliate. The Iranians targeting the 50
I haven't
US
seen
fleet in Bahrain.
counter messaging to
Missiles
that.
intercepted
Only
here
that the
in
president
Qatar,
and the supreme
but
leader are
also,
alive.
Explosions heard in the UAE,
Which,
the UAE
again, to
announcing
me,
the closure of its
those would be the
airspace.
first two
We
targets
talked
you'd
about
want to
the Israeli
hit.
Prime
So I
Minister
just don't
earlier
understand.
and his message to the Israeli
What's the
people,
point of
but
this?
also to the Iranians.
Like, they're
Let's
just
listen to
for
what Benjamin
fun,
Netanyahu said.
throwing missiles at each other at non-priority targets.
The United States launched a joint campaign, Operation Lion's Roar. The objective of the operation is to put an end to the threat from the Ayatollah regime in Iran. At this time, the
What threat?
IDF
What'd
is
they do?
attacking targets of the oppressive regime, facilities of the Revolutionary Guard, along with the United States military, targeting ballistic missile sites that threaten both Israel and U.S. forces. This operation will continue as long as necessary.
When have
In
they
recent
threatened
months,
us? I'm
the tyrants
confused.
in Iran have been plotting to rebuild their nuclear and missile capabilities and to bury them underground, where we won't be able to strike them. If we don't stop them now, they will become invulnerable. To that end, the representatives in negotiations are trying to buy time, attempting to buy time in fruitless and deceitful negotiations with our American friends. Whoever lays down their weapons, including among the regime forces, will ensure their safety and secure their future. The Iranian people in all their diversity, Persians, Kurds, Azeris, Baluch, Abkhazians, and all other citizens of this wonderful
He's
nation,
looking sicker and
this is your
sicker.
opportunity to establish a new and free Iran. Take your destiny into your own hands.
A little more frail every time he comes on camera.
Haaretz newspaper, he's in Tel Aviv. Gideon, how big of a risk is Netanyahu taking by launching this operation on Israel?
Zero risk. Zero risk. He's taking zero fucking risk. He's taking the head of the risk. Sure, okay. Oh, there they go. There they go, the alarms.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you, Gideon. We've just had
Why don't you move your phone outside the room, lady?
from the authorities telling citizens to take
So
shelter.
means there's more missiles on its way.
Installations because of possibly an incoming Iranian missile. Qatar is home, of course, to the largest
Guys, we're gonna watch Al
US
Jazeera.
military base
Okay,
in the region.
they're. I don't want to say they're less biased, but they're less Israel leaning.
And stay away from military installations.
They're a little
continue
quicker
the,
too.
Apologies. We will
Post
have,
footage, at least the outside Israel parts.
The next few hours here as we continue to follow the Iranian retaliation to the attack on its territory.
Shut up, lady. Let the guy talk.
First of all, solidarity with you all in Qatar. We are facing obviously the same here. We have now. I have now to go to the shelter here, so we continue later. I have to rush to the shelter. Sorry.
Okay, please, we'll come back to you. Take shelter.
I'll see you soon. Sure.
Take
What?
shelter. We will come back to you. When
I
it's
guess
safe.
they're.
Rory Challenge now
He's in an awkward place.
Amman.
Here's one of the reasons I like Al Jazeera. They still report on the, you know. You can read the bottom.
Well, we've heard in the last few minutes at least 3 fairly sizable booms in the skies over Amman. And we have heard over the past 2 hours or so the
So you can see in Israel they are
up in the skies,
intercepting some of them.
and what to my ears at least sound like air defense being operated. Now, this is in line with what we're being told by the Jordanian military, which is that there are Royal Jordanian Air Force jets that have been mobilized. Now, they have said that these are routine patrols, reconnaissance patrols, but given that we know that Iranian missiles are being launched
Why would you have routine patrols
Israel drones
when your
as
two
well,
neighbors are
and
fucking
Iranian
bombing each other?
missiles, have
That's
been
crazy.
Hitting other parts of the region. You can only assume that these jets are up there basically trying to patrol the Jordanian skies and make sure that they are safe. Jordan
Also, again, even the fact that Iran doesn't bomb the U.S. assets in Jordan also kind of tells you it's just for show, guys. Okay? Jordan is right next to them.
As are many other regional countries, because
Jordan's a
as we
very
have been
heavy U.S.
talking
ally.
about over the last hour or two of coverage, they are broadly
They're bombing small little naval
to many
bases
parts of Iran,
as far out as they can, basically.
But they are also allies with the
Bases
United
that we've
States,
pretty much
and they are,
evacuated.
hosting in many parts of this region large US facilities, and the Jordanians have one as well, Muwafaq Salti Air Base, which is about 100 kilometers east of Amman, the capital. In recent days, there have been 60 to 70 US planes there. That's triple the kind
Abu
of normal
Dhabi is
amount
now
of US
trending.
planes.
Let's
And
see.
the Iranians have been saying specifically that
Abu Dhabi
in
just got
the
struck.
case of any
Let's see.
US and Israeli attack against Iran, that it would
U.S.
become
Embassy in
a
UAE
regional
orders all
conflict,
personnel to shelter in
that
place.
the wider region of the Middle East and the Gulf would be drawn into this, and that's what we are seeing playing out at the moment with these attacks on Bahrain and with Jordanian Air Force scrambling to patrol and protect the skies of Jordan at the moment. Now, many countries in
Say
the
we're gonna
region,
deal
Jordan being one of them,
any
have said
real
that they would not
damage.
specifically,
If they
have said that
wanted
they
to
would
do
not
any
take
real
part, they
damage,
would not facilitate
why
any
wouldn't
US
they
attack on Iran.
Why wouldn't they attack any of the naval assets? Why wouldn't you move your boats? I mean, you would lose. They're not winning, don't get me wrong. But again, it's a show. It's a show.
Put it a short
Okay?
while ago, fair game.
And we're hearing now from the Iranian Foreign Ministry in the last few minutes, releasing a statement saying this renewed military aggression comes while Iran and the U.S. were in the midst of a diplomatic process. The Iranian Foreign
No, they
Ministry
weren't.
saying that Israel and the U.S. attacked a range of military and defense targets as well as civilian infrastructure across various cities in Iran. And they're saying that the main target of the first U.S.-Israeli attack were these targets, including government buildings in Tehran. We've heard from our sources on the ground that the Supreme Leader
I thought
is
she said
safe,
ass
hasn't been
sources on the
injured,
ground.
and that the
My
president
God.
of Iran as well is safe. In the last hour, Iran's response had a military base in the region, Al Udeid.
It just doesn't line up. If your goal is to topple a regime, the fastest way to do that is to kill the guy or kidnap him, which we did in Venezuela. So either we are incapable of doing it, which I find completely impossible, considering what both Mossad and the U.S. military has been able to do, or you're just lying, and this is all a show.
A kind of a reflection of things are intact. Command and control is not only on the military side, but also on the diplomatic side. It seems that there is a plan already, and this plan is mainly built on kind of briefing not only the internal community, the internal.
I will say the footage
also,
thus far has been much less
how things are going on.
than the last time this happened.
What we're hearing also from Iran.
These are the military, U.S. military bases in the Middle East.
Targeting in the beginning.
But you can see, so I mean, here's Israel.
Of, several military
Over here
commanders.
is Iran.
We don't know whether they are they've been killed or not, but there are senior military commanders in Iran
And it
who
looks
were
like
targeted in this strike.
Okay. Monad Saloon,
This is
quite
Bahrain,
significant that the escalation
UAE,
is happening this fast and in
Kuwait. These are the bases that
locations.
they
Bahrain,
said they had attacked.
the UAE, Kuwait, and Qatar.
And now Iraq as well.
Yeah.
There are reports that some places in Jurf al-Sakhar, south of Baghdad, have been
I'm even gonna try and
targeted
pronounce
by
what that guy
Israeli
just
or
said.
U.S. Planes. So Iran is delivering on its promise. They said that this is
They're
going
delivering
to be a
on their
regional
promise.
war, so they are trying to draw in other countries in the region into this war. So they targeted Abu Dhabi. Probably they would target.
Right.
They targeted Bahrain and Qatar.
Naturally, when you're already fighting a war 1v2, your natural response should be bomb everybody who's not involved and also get them to fight you. Yeah, that makes total sense. Thanks, guy.
U.S. administration to stop.
These people are,
war.
I don't know.
Qatar has
Interesting.
reportedly intercepted now 2 Iranian missiles over this country. The fact that the Iranians are targeting countries where there are U.S. bases, of course, but also countries that are have good relations with Iran. What does that tell you about the regime's objective?
Listen,
intent?
these people report on this region every single day. What is she talking about? None of those countries have a good relationship with Iran. Not one of them. Not a single one of these countries have a good relationship with Iran. Okay? This country does. Half this country does. Yemen. It's in the middle of a civil war. And it's the left side here, run by the Houthis, that has a good relationship with Iran. Same with Lebanon. Same situation. So what is she talking about? Iraq? No. Saudi Arabia? Definitely not. Oman? UAE? Qatar? Like what? What are you saying, lady?
Being blurred at the moment because they're.
Are both these people retarded? This guy says, Iran wants to get bombed by the other countries in the area, and then this retard says they're all they're friends. So by their combined logic, Iran is bombing their own friends for fun, to drag them into the conflict.
In Qatar as well. 2 missiles have already been intercepted here in Doha by the missile defense system. It would seem a third one is incoming. Monad, the Iranians clearly are prepared this time around. They weren't caught by surprise, given the response we're seeing.
Indeed, yeah. And so they are trying to widen this into the region. But equally, we have to remember that the U.S. and its allies have already predicted this. And probably they have plans to stop this.
You think?
Also to
they
pay the
bombed
cost
them
of this.
first?
I think what President Trump said, that some of our men and women might
this guy gets paid way more money than I do.
This war, but that's a price we are prepared to pay. So what we're looking at here is the unfolding of this conflict where the Iranians, this is the last showdown, if you like, between these two big
The last showdown.
But how is it going to end?
Yeah,
What brings
okay,
it to an
buddy.
end?
But it seems that the U.S. and Israel and their allies as well, they are very much keen on regime change. And what they are trying,
They're so keen on it
is that a shock
that they're not even hitting the actual president or Ayatollah. That's how committed they are.
the Iranians, topple
They're trying
the
to
regime.
scare
So
them
that is
for
what they
stepping
said
down.
out loud.
Okay, just to update our
Guy's a
viewers
fucking
on,
idiot, man.
what's been happening
Combined IQ of
in
about
this region
80.
after the initial U.S. and Israeli attack on Iran, the Iranians have now started responding. There have been attacks, strikes on Bahrain, the UAE, and Qatar, all countries which have closed their airspace, I should say.
Ooh,
Iran has
there's actual
struck
footage.
Bahrain's capital, Manama, while Qatar has announced that it's shot down at least two missiles that were headed towards the U.S. military base at Al
The fact that they're hitting is crazy.
in Qatar. President Donald Trump issued a statement earlier, as we've been saying that the U.S. started major combat operations in Iran and warned that there will likely be American casualties. And what we've seen in the last hours, American bases in this
Another
region
missile struck
being
there.
targeted. President Trump also calling on Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard to lay down.
I
its
feel like
arms
this
or
makes
face
America
certain
look
death.
like shit.
Some missiles.
Like the U.S. likes to tout its strength, but when a country like Iran can bomb us, even just our assets outside the U.S., I feel like it's not a good look, man. I feel like if you're Russia and China, you're like, okay, so cruise missiles work, right? These ballistic missiles work. But it's just not a good look. So to encourage, okay, really, what? So to encourage the attacks by doing what we do just doesn't make sense to me, man. Like it's not good foreign policy. Where's this? This is the initial strikes.
Holding dozens of American
Is he talking?
hostages for
This is the
444 days.
video we already seen.
In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels and international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer.
Let's bring in our chief U.S. correspondent, Alan Fisher, in Washington now. Alan, President Trump making there the case for war, but how big of a political risk is he taking by launching this operation on Iran?
Well, of course, he said when Barack Obama was running for election that Obama would launch a war in Iran to make sure that he continued to win. He talked about how regime...
This is reportedly Iranian missiles that have struck Iran. Iranian missiles that struck Israel. And it's the same thing. I feel like this makes them look like shit, which again kind of tells me that it's also just a show.
Epic fury. Remember, this is a man who just over 2 weeks ago launched the Board of Peace in the United States, saying that this would be a force for good, working alongside
allegedly
the
in
United
Haifa,
Nations.
Israel.
His own vice president in early January said that there was no intention of regime change in Iran. What they wanted to do was limit their nuclear ambitions to stop them pursuing a nuclear weapon. And of course, we
Missile
saw
strikes
Operation
in
Midnight
Holland,
Hammer
Israel,
in June.
allegedly,
And
of course.
The White House still has this on the website, that Iran's nuclear program was obliterated at that point. Now, we know that Donald Trump has come under pressure from Benjamin Netanyahu to take action against Iran. He has consistently pushed the idea that Iran was just weeks away from a nuclear weapon, something that he's been talking about for 20 years. Now we find ourselves in what is an open-ended operation. Donald Trump has warned Americans that there is the possibility there'll be American lives lost. That will be a problem for him with his base. That will be a problem for him with many people in the United States. And there's also problems ahead at Congress, because they believe that any declaration of war, and this is effectively a declaration of war, should have gone through Congress in the first instance.
Good to see you in person.
Alan, thank you very much for now. Alan Fisher in Washington there. If you're just joining us on Al Jazeera, it's just gone past 9:33.
No, I feel like the American guy was a lot more critical about Trump and the situation than even this chick and that guy. He openly said that Israel pressures Trump into attacking. Israel started it, blah, blah, blah. We've already covered this 1,000 times.
Intercepts those
So,
missiles.
honestly,
Iran
it's nice
has
to
also
see
targeted US assets
American
in
guy a
countries
little more
including
unbiased than
Bahrain,
these
the
fucking
UAE, Qatar, and Kuwait.
locals
Bahrain
to
has
the
just
area.
confirmed that there have been attacks on its territory, inside its territory. It says the headquarters of the USS Navy's 5th Fleet has been targeted by a missile attack and has urged people to take cover in a safe area. Loud explosions have also been heard in Abu Dhabi, the capital.
Since we last spoke in the last 45 minutes or so, 30 or 45 minutes, we've heard at least 6 or 7 loud explosions. The last one that just happened felt a lot louder and felt like that was some kind of ground impact, but we can't confirm at this stage. If you look up at the sky, we can see puffs of smoke that looks like the Patriot systems intercepting. We are seeing multiple plumes of smoke, multiple explosions again. That's at least 4 or 5 explosions since we started talking. So it is an active environment. Just to give you a sense of how incongruous this kind of violence is to a place like Qatar, civilian tourists are still out taking pictures. They're lining up for boat rides. There's vendors here trying to get them to take a cruise onto the water. What's happening now is so incongruous to the regular peacetime here, even with those explosions and attacks that we saw last year by Iran and Israel on Qatar. It is still something quite alien to people here. But these explosions are very apparent and very obvious, and there have been at least a dozen in the last hour.
Just to clarify for our viewers, these explosions are interceptions, right?
The only people
That's what it seems to be at the
who
moment.
are going to pay the price
I
here
can tell you that
are
we
civilians.
Here we heard one
Okay?
explosion that we felt on the ground.
It's the only people who are going to pay a price.
The reason I asked is because we've just heard another alert saying.
Patriot defense systems.
Yeah, we've just
And
heard
it'll
another
be
emergency alert. That's why I asked whether this was an
accidental misfires or
when we have more clarity on what's happening. Let's bring in David DeRoche now, professor of
missiles that have
Thayer
they're
Marshall
targeting got
Institute.
fucked up.
David, what do you make of these?
Will not be
fast-moving
military
developments? First,
targets
the
that get hit.
Israelis announcing an attack, the U.S. then saying they're part of this operation, and then Iran's response, which has been very quick and wide.
So let me start from the back and move forward. The Iranian response was to be expected. They used their short-range missile arsenal, which was not severely degraded in the 12-day war because it couldn't reach Israel. We expected this to happen. What we've seen is probably indigenous, local, and American air defense forces have mostly intercepted missiles successfully. They'll still be damaged because it's metal stuff. It's not vaporized. It will fall down. But it does look,
And
based
then
on my
civilians
preliminary
will
analysis
die.
of what I see on Twitter,
Right.
that at least one missile landed within the perimeter of the American base in Bahrain.
How
so the
significant
base
is that? That's the 5th
was
fleet,
hit.
the Navy's
Yeah.
5th fleet, right, in Bahrain.
Right. It's not as significant as people think it is. It's actually a command and control headquarters, so it probably would have been evacuated, and it looks
Yeah,
as though the
they
missile
were
landed
evacuated.
in warehouses, which presumably wouldn't be there, and one would imagine that the headquarters had been mostly evacuated because this is a long-standing
They were
target.
evacuated.
But, you know, there is a possibility for loss of life, and, you know, that's something that I think we'll be looking for a lot of evidence
Right.
of.
We've also heard
I don't like the
reports
way
of
you said that.
explosions in Iraq, in the south, in a southern city in Iraq, which is home. Sorry, say it again. Okay, how significant is that? One?
I'm not trying to
remains to be
repeat what
seen.
that
I
guy
mean, the
did,
issue
but I can't
is
do that
you've
shit.
got American forces evacuating Syria. A lot of that will be going through Iraq, so it could be against
So the
American.
forces that recently left Syria would have relocated to bases in
Not
Iraq?
relocated, but exfiltrated through,
okay.
or some of their equipment.
Okay.
But you don't know. I mean, it could. You know, the problem is sometimes you could have a natural gas explosion in the middle of conflict. You don't know. One of the rules I always go
What?
through: first reports in war are always wrong. So it remains to be seen. But we're in this period of confusion. We'll see what happens. But it looks as though there have been a number of successful intercepts of missiles so far.
All right, let's get the thoughts of Richard Weiss now, who's a senior fellow at the NATO Defense College, joining us from Virginia in the United States. Richard, what do you make of the initial Iranian response?
Does
It's
it
been quick
count?
and it's been wide, targeting
Does it count if the U.S. base gets hit? We didn't do this last time. Does that count as an Article 5 provocation?
Lead time, they certainly must have anticipated that
Oh
the
my god,
possibility
this
of a
guy is a
U.S. or
fucking
Israeli attack
living
was
robot.
high, and targeting
Jesus.
nearby U.S. facilities is not too
Bro,
challenging.
I can't. He's gonna put me to sleep, guys. I can't with that guy. Sorry. Let's watch something else. Well, I mean, some bombs are landing. At least the one thing that guy said that is true is we won't have actual real reports until like a week from now as to what gets hit and what doesn't. Everyone sees the smoke and they just assume whatever it is they want to assume. So if something important had happened, we would have already known. This is an old image. He looks fucking ill compared to what he looks like now. Missiles intercepted by cutter. This is just not there. Why? I don't understand. Why does anyone care about Australia here? What? See if that guy's still talking. Oh my god, he's still talking.
To first, but also U.S. Gulf partners and allies, and this is thought as a means to get these leaders to intervene with the White House to call for an early end to the conflict. So I think that's the basic strategy of the Iranians. They have capabilities to attack these targets, but they also are well defended. And so I think this will probably continue for the duration, but the intensity may slacken over time.
In terms of the U.S. and Israeli operation, how long do you anticipate it to last? What do you see as the strategy, and what is going to determine victory for them?
Yeah, that's a challenge. But from what we heard from President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu today, it sounds like their goal is regime change. So that would mean the war would continue until presumably the Iranian people manage to seize control of the government away from the clerical regime and establish their own. And that we just can't predict when or if that will occur.
The assets that have been moved in the region, of course, are huge. I mean, we've seen 2 U.S. Navy destroyers, over 300 aircraft. What does that tell you about the type of war that they're going to be leading?
I think the key thing actually is the asset that's not there. So in past major military operations in the Middle East, such as the 2 wars against Iraq, there was a substantial buildup of ground forces. And this is often thought to be, critical for any long-term operation. It can't just be air campaign. It has to include a ground component. Sometimes it can be a local ground component. That's what the U.S. did in Afghanistan with taking advantage of the Northern Alliance. But here, it's all air and missile strikes, and the hope is that the Iranian people will, in effect, become the ground force. So that's what struck me, is just the reliance very much on air power and not without a major ground component.
All right, Richard, thank you for now. Please stay with us as we continue to cover these fast-moving developments. Iran's foreign ministry has just issued a statement which reads in part, the attacks carried out by the Zionist regime and the United States against Iran are clear examples of armed aggression. It says this moment represents a historic test for the Iranian nation, relying on faith, unity, national determination. The people and armed forces of Iran will once again defend their homeland. History shows that Iranians have never surrendered to aggression. This time as well, Iran's response will be decisive, and aggressors will regret their hostile actions. Ali Hashem has covered Iran extensively. He's here with me in the studio, as is Mohanad
Is it not
Saloon
weird to
from the Doha
conduct
Institute of Graduate
war
Studies.
like this?
the Iranian response seems to be a very wide one. We're also hearing
So
reports of
weird.
explosions, a second loud bang heard in Abu Dhabi, as well as one now in Dubai and Riyadh.
The whole region.
Significant,
Yeah.
Ali.
Actually, we are seeing now continuous retaliation from Iran towards Israel and towards the regional countries that host American bases. But this is taking this whole
But Dubai
conflict.
doesn't host American bases, from what I know.
So much noise.
Dubai.
Yeah.
So it seems this is getting really complicated. It's getting out of control in a way, and it's putting pressure not only on the United States directly, but on allies of the United States in the region.
Right, but can Iran sustain this, though?
But this is the issue.
Yeah, can
How
Iran
is this
sustain
going
this?
to-
How you know?
Thank you, lady.
Clearly, it's
Pressure
an
this
initial,
guy.
looks like anyway, an initial
He's an
show
idiot.
of force by the Iranians saying, this is what we can do, but how long can they
Well,
sustain?
this also risks that these countries might be retaliate towards Iran.
Do you think?
I mean, this is one of the possibilities. When Iran is attacking Saudi Arabia, there is a possibility that Saudi Arabia.
Do we know? I know it's early days, and I'm putting you on the spot.
I mean,
It's
maybe.
early hours, of course.
I don't think so.
Is the strike on explosion in Saudi Arabia, would that have come directly
Most of
from
the Middle
Iran
Eastern
or-
countries
or,
don't
Iran's
want war,
allies, the
man.
Houthis in nearby
They're not
Yemen?
interested. They don't
Well,
care,
for
and
now, we
they're
don't have
fully
any
aware of the
reports
Israel-U.S.
activation of
kind of nonsense that
missiles
takes
or
place.
launch of missiles from Yemen or from Iraq till the moment. But there is a possibility that there might be.
I mean, this guy's talking about
we
Saudi
just,
Arabia joining. There's no
taking the
reports that Saudi
that
Arabia was
are
even targeted.
arriving for now. We know that there are launches from Iran, several launches, and as I told you before, just contrary to what happened in the last war, this time the Iranians are quick.
That is
clear
true.
that the command
That's
and
true.
control,
They
despite
took a
who
lot
was
longer.
killed,
They took a lot longer to retaliate. Last time. Last time it took them like 2 weeks to get assets into position before firing. And it was, okay, I'm not gonna lie, again, the loss of life is sad. It was a lot more entertaining because they sent them in these massive waves. You could see a live feed of them kind of moving across the map. And then there was just, you know, the Iron Dome and all the rockets getting intercepted. It was fucking crazy to watch. This is a lot more scattered. I guess this is a lot more warlike than the last time.
It's come fast. It's a wide one as well, given the countries that have been targeted. But is it a sustainable?
Mostly just getting a lot
Well,
of
it is for now. I mean,
reports
Iran is
and a lot of
massive country
scattered
after all, and
images.
they have the arsenal, they have the regional allies, at least in terms of non-state actors. And I can hear from, at least from social media statements coming out of Iraqi militias saying that we have been targeted in Jurf al-Sakhar and we will be responding to this attack. And basically they are signaling that they are part of this war, but they are waiting for signal to come from Tehran, asking them to get involved. So I think that Iran has thought this out, and they would activate these cells only when they think that they cannot sustain attacks from inside Iran against regional targets.
These regional countries are already, it looks like anyway, paying the price for the US and Israel's decision to strike Iran. Would the Americans have anticipated such a response? You think?
Definitely. I mean, Iran had made this very clear. The supreme leader said that very clearly in Arabic, in English, in every language possible. He said that this is going to be a regional war and no one would be spared, and that we would be targeting the military installations of the US and other Western countries, but as well as countries, you know, who cooperate with these with the US. We might target their own installations, and that, you know, with reference to countries that would contribute or support this war. And already Iran has named that Bahrain, UAE, and other countries in the region are collaborating with the US and Israel against it, and that they deem them as de facto enemies.
This will go on for maybe a week, and then they'll just stop.
But what seems to be clear, at least from what I see, is that the negotiations, the diplomacy is over for now.
Well, just
Can
the
they,
same.
can they come back to the status quo, you think,
know,
given what we've seen?
The issue is that we're always dealing now with this deja vu moment.
But this
saw
feels
what
different.
happened.
This feels different, Ali, from 2025.
Well, it's different because this time it's the United States and Israel directly involved in
And the
war.
Iranian response also.
Absolutely, the whole picture is different, but the things that
not good.
preceded the moment,
It's a little different, but it's not that
negotiations that preceded the talks, the
I
threats
think
that preceded
the
the talks, they're
Bahrain
all
base was
almost the
targeted
same. Now,
in
what's
the
different here is that the
2025
Iranian
incident
reaction
too.
was different from the first time. And the main issue here is that will there be any more diplomacy after this war? Or will diplomacy end this war? Because these are big questions. They all depend on, first of all, your question to Mohanad on the sustainability, how much the Iranians will be able to be resilient, how much they will be able to launch rockets.
But is the Iranian regime's main and sole objective right now, is it survival?
Well, it's clear, because the main objective the United States and Israel put there is toppling the regime. So survival for the regime will mean that at least they made the objectives fail. So this is the main objective for them. If they keep alive, if they're there, if the system do not collapse.
Right, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
What does survival look like for the regime? It's not just about a figurehead.
No, at all. It's not about the figure.
Yeah.
It's mainly about the system continuing.
Allegedly,
It's
this
about
is
the
in
Islamic
Tehran.
Republic, the establishment continuing, and going to talks after the war or diplomacy to end
None
the
of
war.
it really
This is something
matters,
else.
guys,
But
until we
as
hear
far
reports
as
that
this establishment in Iran can
leadership has
preserve
died.
itself,
And
or
I
what they
just,
call
I
in
do
Iran
not see that shit
preserving
happening.
the nizam, the system. If they're able to preserve it, regardless of who is
5
going
missiles.
to be killed, then to them
Okay.
this is failing the other's objective.
Yeah. And Ali, Iran's Supreme National Security Council has just issued a statement. It reads, according to the information obtained from these two corrupt regimes, referring, of course, to the Israelis and Americans, their operations will continue in Tehran and some other cities. The government has already prepared all the needs of society, and there is no concern about the supply of public necessities. Schools and universities will be closed until further notice. Banks will continue to serve the dear nation of Iran. Government offices will operate at 50% capacity for the time being. So a statement there from Iran's National Security Council. Let's go to Mohammed Val in Tehran for an update on the situation on the ground. Mohammed, what's been happening there?
Yes, fully just about 15 to 20 minutes ago, we had new explosions here in Tehran. We couldn't locate the exact targets of those explosions, but that's clearly an indication of the continuation of this operation, as has been promised by the American president. Iranians also are bracing for this, and as you just mentioned, the Supreme National Council, Security Council, has announced that this is going to be an ongoing operation, and that people have to take shelter in safe areas. They have to avoid going to unsafe places. And that there are also reassurances, on the other hand, that the banks will continue to function.
I'm going to
some
call
of
it
the schools and
here.
universities will be closing for the moment. And
This will be an escalating conflict for about a week. So when I wake up, it's 5 a.m. for me right now. When I wake up, if things have continued to escalate, we'll go live again. Probably have an episode tonight, just in general, to cover all the conflicts. But I think the fact that Iran hasn't really targeted anything new. It targeted an empty base, bases that were already prepared. You know, they talked a lot of shit. In fact, they didn't hit them right away. The aircraft carriers is kind of what I'm hitting at. Just kind of goes to show. And the fact that the U.S. and Israel didn't hit the leadership of Iran, the president and the Ayatollah, kind of tells me this is just a repeat of 2 years ago. It's the same thing that happens every year. It's just a fun little thing they do. And mostly it's just to distract from the Epstein files, to be honest. And it's Israel likes to do this, so they kind of snip some more land when they can. So anyways, yeah, I think that's going to be it. Thank you for joining and listening. And again, if something major happens, I'll come back immediately, but I don't think anything crazy is going to happen for a little bit. And honest to God, again, the loss of life is always sad, but the real kind of interesting footage tends to happen at night in the region when the Iron Dome is intercepting shit. You can see the missiles a little more clearly. This, I don't think it's anything, but could be wrong. We'll see. Good night for me. Hope maybe for you, and I'll see you guys